What actor is the most guilty of playing the same exact character in every film? Ryan Reynolds, same quirky guy who speaks in overly written quips. Ryan Reynolds is like AC/DC, one formula used over and over, but damn, it's a great formula. Jason Statham. I once heard a comedian say that all of his movies should just be numbered. Jason Statham 9. He fights a shark in this one. 74 comments. And how the fuck has Michelle Rodriguez not been mentioned yet? She's done an interview about this. Greater than. People can call it typecast, but I pigeonholed myself. Saying no to the girlfriend. The saying no to the girl that gets captured. And eventually I just got left with the strong chick who's always being killed. Rebel Wilson. She was good in Jojo Rabbit, because it was a minor role and had good writing and direction. And her whole shtick wasn't, "Here dare I am, fat lol." I'm starting to really like Taika Waititi quite a bit. Ragnarok was one of the best Marvel movies. Jojo Rabbit was excellent. And I just saw Hunt for the Wilderpeople and it was another great movie. I highly recommend What We Do in the Shadows, if you haven't seen it already. Zooey Deschanel. If Manic Pixie Dream Girl characters formed their own country, she would be their god empress. Kevin Hart. He played a different type of character in Jumanji 2. In the first Jumanji he played himself. In the second one you could see him trying to play someone else. Dwayne Johnson aka The Rock. Nicolas Cage as well, albeit to a lesser extent. Dude, Nicolas Cage played John Travolta? If that isn't range, I don't know what is. Nicolas Cage played John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage. If you think Nicolas Cage can't act, then you haven't seen all his movies, or you believe too? Strongly into the memes. The guy's an earnest actor with a lot of range. Hugh Grant, dithering, bumbling Englishman. David Spade, annoying American man teenager. Vin Diesel. Yes. Same role in every movie, the semi-muscular badass hero with 90s cool lines. Not gonna lie, We're Groot was unexpectedly emotional. Don't know his name, but he's a Spanish Mexican actor who plays a gangsters in almost all his movies. Pretty sure his name is usually Hector too. Bald head, white tank top, goatee I think. You guys know who I'm talking about. Noel Guglielmi is his name. Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo said in interviews that he prefers to play a gangster type dude who usually dies to teach kids to avoid the lifestyle. Well, that's pretty gangster. From everything I've heard, Danny Trejo is a genuinely sweet guy. Jason uptight businessman Bateman. I came to say Jason Bateman. All his roles are based on putting good old mild-mannered level-headed Jason Bateman in different situations. Dodgeball is the one exception, but I agree. I only know him from Arrested Development and Ozark, and while they fit that carefully worded description, they're very different. I'd never confuse the two characters. Owen Wilson. WOOOWW. Even in Broken Arrow, he was the same character. Michael Cera, except in This Is the End. I love him in This Is the End. Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course. That's not a bad thing though. He has only one accent but he rocks it so well. He actually lost the accent a long time ago. He keeps it up cause he says it's jarring for people to hear him speak English proper. My fave Arnold fact that he wasn't allowed to play the German Terminator. His accent is considered very rural. It would be like a hillbilly to us. Starring Dwayne Johnson as a buff dude spy who can fly helicopters and perform CPR, who is sometimes funny. Samuel Jackson. All of his characters say mother asterisk CKA in one way or another. Take a seat, young motherfucker. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Love the guy, but he seems to be in a lot of movies where he is just The Rock to me. Uses smoldering intensity. Adam Sandler. He quit playing characters in like 1998, except for Uncut Gems and Punch Drunk Love. Jesse Eisenberg, the dude from Zombieland, Social Network, and Now You See Me, among others. Always plays a stuck-up narcissistic asshole who comes across as thinking he's God. I'm pretty sure he's not even acting. Just rocks up and starts talking down to everyone. He was cringeworthy as Lex Luthor. Bruce Willis. In the 80s, he was the guy from Moonlighting, cocky, punchy, streetwise and lots of quips. Then he became McClane, a cockier, punchier version of David Addison. Ditto Pulp Fiction, where he kinda had a dark edge but still the quips. Then the Shyamalan movies, where he got darker still and more serious. He's evolved, but it's like he's just playing the same character, just older and more serious each time. The one time he played against type, in Friends, as the guy who couldn't stop crying. It was such an inside joke. Hector. People say Paul Giamatti is a great character actor. In my opinion, he is literally always Paul Giamatti. Purses his lips, shakes head in disagreement. Gonna get buried, but Ashton Kutcher. Since that 70s show he was doomed to play the lovable idiot. Not really. He had a great role in The Butterfly Effect. It was a great movie at the time and he has had a couple more roles, although he is indeed associated heavily with the lovable idiot. Jenna Jameson. Same role every time. John Wayne. He may have played characters under different names in his movies. But if you purge all that, they all did exactly the same things in exactly the same ways. For the same motives. Arguably the closest he got to breaking type was Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, The Conqueror, and Brannigan obviously, but in every other movie he basically played John Wayne in different clothes. And an eye patch for two. Even in roles where he'd have done better to add some depth, he just played himself with different clothes. Anytime he tried to step outside the basic pattern, it was blatantly obvious that he was out of his element and terrifically uncomfortable. Classical example, Barbarian and the Geisha, 1958. These men have a sickness. Stay away from them. The very delivery of the dialogue was so forcefully still-wilted and uncomfortable that you'd have to work hard to find an actor who could deliver the lines worse. John Ratzenberger's character Cliff Clavin could have done it better. I think this is one of the best answers. Clint Eastwood has also been playing tough guys with the emotional range of a flea his whole life. Not that I think that's a bad thing. You just can't hire to drive a minivan and take the grandkids to soccer practice every day. Stan Lee. Shut your whore mouth. Dan Trejo. Seth Rogen. Steve Jobs. Emo-y was the standout role as Wozniak. And this was a film with Michael Fassbender and Kate Winslet in it. Solid proof that even the most unfunny, unoriginal actors can perform well with good writing and direction. I have a bit of a story that works in the context of your question. I once heard somebody say Robert De Niro always plays the same character. That same person about a week later came back to me and said how wrong he initially was when he told me that he thought De Niro always played the same character. He had just seen Casino and Goodfellas but none of De Niro's other work. When he came back to me a week later, he had just seen Deer Hunter and Taxi Driver. To anyone who thinks Robert De Niro isn't a very versatile actor, you are completely mistaken. Greater than to anyone who thinks Robert De Niro isn't a very versatile actor, you are completely mistaken. And they haven't seen Midnight Run. De Niro doing comedy long before Meet the Parents. Robert Redford. He has one character in Hi Monsieur, granted he plays it very well. Looks at you, knowingly smiles. Then finally, a winning nut. Jesse Eisenberg. I mean, clearly he wouldn't play a dorky guy near an amusement park more than once. No one said Tom Cruise. Tropic Thunder disagrees. I tell this story every time it comes up, but I was on a plane when I saw this for the first time, and I barely contained an actual spit take of apple juice on the seat in front of me when he told that guy to take a step back and literally fuck your own face. Still made an involuntary noise that was pretty embarrassing, but holy fuck, that was funny. This one I disagree with. I always thought he was one of the most underrated actors of all time. Not greatest, mind you. but one of the most underrated, as he always gets viewed as this pretty boy with a smirk. See movies like Top Gun, but watch movies like Collateral, Magnolia, his best in my opinion, Born on the 4th of July, Rain Man. I'm in the minority who thinks he was the highlight of that movie. Risky Business, Minority Report, Tropic Thunder. The guy is a fantastic actor. Vince Vaughn, Jennifer Aniston, Sean Bean. Not always the same role, but usually the same fate. I forget what movie it is, but there was a role written specifically for him where everyone else died and he was the only survivor. Ed Helms, I don't mind it, I love his movies. Benedict Cumberbatch, he's always the arrogant genius with poor social skills. Seth Rogen, he plays Seth Rogen on every possible movie. The Rock, he's an ex-military police that is now a butterfly collector, but then he has to save the world. Will Smith, gonna disagree on this one. Fresh Prince vs. Hancock vs. I Am Legend, i.e., 4, I Am Legend, Concussion, Hancock, 7 pounds are all different characters. I know this is controversial, but Matthew McConaughey, that's what I love about these film characters, man. I get older, they stay the same. I used to think that until I saw True Detective. He managed to play 3 completely different characters while playing one character in that show. He won an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. That was not his typical role. Never saw that movie, but from trailers it didn't seem like a role that Mr. Alright X3 typically plays either. Rob Schneider in every Adam Sandler movie. Rob Schneider derp-da-derp. Derp-da-derpity-derpy-derp. Until one day, the derp-a-derp-a-derp-a-derp. Derp-da-derp. Da-teedly-dum. From the creators of Der and Tum-ta-tiddly-tum-ta-too. Rob Schneider is da-derpy-derp-da-teedly-derpy-derpy-dum. Rated PG-13. Danny McBride, lovable man-child whose ridiculous one-liners and ideas are surprisingly cogent and heartfelt. Snore. I like him in supporting roles, but when he's the main focus he's just a big baby. Mark Wahlberg. What? No. Haha. If I ever need a laugh I just find this clip on YouTube. Best scene in the whole movie. Jack Nicholson. He only plays Jack Nicholson. Have you seen As Good as It Gets? Also about Schmidt. Nah. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Passenger. Pretty different roles. Whoever played the main character in Elf. I honestly hate his character. It's obviously supposed to be comedic, but emo any character he plays just comes off as a bumbling idiot. This applies to many comedian actors too. Will Ferrell. I found him generally irritating until I watched Stranger Than Fiction. His comedy doesn't really appeal to me, but he can do some decent acting. I agree. My favorite Will Ferrell movie hands down. I feel the same way about Jim Carrey. It wasn't until The Truman Show that I could sit through one of his movies, and he was great. You spent more time writing this comment than it would have taken to Google main character in Elf. Honestly, he's not bad when he's not Loud Man Baby. Sadly 9 out of 10 movies he's in, he's playing Loud Man Baby. At least he didn't hurt Lego Movie. In movies, Chris Pratt, tough guy, has internal struggles, is really fit, finds a girl, makes jokes. Have you seen Parks and Rec? They did specify in movies, so I'm going to say they're excluding Andy. How many movies has he done that in? Guardians of the Galaxy, Passengers, and Jurassic World. Not the most guilty, but he's who I could think of that others didn't already say. Lol. Tommy Lee Jones. Same dude in Lonesome Dove, The Fugitive, No Country for Old Men. Always the same sourpuss. Melissa McCarthy. She's stepped outside the quirky fat girl stereotype a few times. No way. She's genuinely great in some movies. Yeah, she was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress a year or two ago. IRC. Sylvester Stallone. Will Ferrell. Jim Varney. My mom went to high school with him and said he was the sweetest and most talented guy. It broke her heart when he died. This is probably the most accurate answer in the whole thread. It's a long story and I'm not proud of it. But I actually searched his name on Amazon Prime tonight and couldn't believe how many Ernest movies there are. True. And now I'm sad. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.